video looping on the background. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good day. Thank you so much for attending our event, AtmosTalk, Scaling Up Mangrove Restoration Activities into Investable Blue Carbon Project. First of all, I would like to thank our collaborators for this online webinar, Kemenko Pangan Republik Indonesia, and also Kementerian Kelautan dan Perikanan Republik Indonesia. Also, our other collaborators such as Carbon Growth Partners, Yagasu, and IDX Carbons. Thank you so much for participating and contributing your thought, your direction to this event. And also, we have a media partner from EcoBiz Asia. Thank you for help us spreading the news to your network as well. So hopefully the session today will be insightful to all of you, and we want to talk things that matters and importance because mangrove restorations is very important, as all of the speaker will share more a bit later on during these sessions. So without further ado, let's start. Let's start the online webinar. And yeah, can you help to go for the next slide? So before we start, don't forget, if you haven't done it, please register to our Atmos check. You can click the link below or just scan the QR code here, because our Atmos check, the technology to check the eligibility of the project for focus on the forestry sectors, we can identify quickly whether the area is eligible for carbon or not, including coastline area, which is in the mangrove area. So yeah, if you haven't, don't forget to register, because at the end of these sessions, we will have a raffle prize announcement for the winner that have registered to our Atmos check. We will buy offset certificate for 1 ton for you as part of your contribution to the world and to the nature. So don't forget to register yourself to this Atmos check. So after this, we will have keynote speaker from our government representative. And after that, after the keynote speaker, there will be a moderated sessions and the closing remark. So first of all, I would like to warmly welcome Mr. Fajar Nuradi, SSMPP, as the Assistant Deputy for Food Production and Climate Change, Coordinating Ministry for Food Affairs. Coordinating Ministry for Food Affairs is the key players who is responsible in Indonesia as the one who direct blue carbon and also mangrove restorations activities. Mr. Fajar himself, prior to his role, he also the director for food production and climate change, and in 2018 as a ministry counselor for Indonesia Trade and Economic Office in Taipei, Consul Diplomat Indonesian Consul General in Dubai, Third Secretary Diplomat Indonesia Embassy in Budapest, and he held Master of Public Policy in School of Government and Public Policy. So he has experience throughout the country, which is perfect for negotiating with external stakeholder, external party, especially Indonesia as a big supply side of carbon, especially we have a rich area of mangrove. So without further ado, please warm welcome to Mr. Fajar Nuradi to begin his keynote speaker. Mr. Fajar, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Pak Rizky, for the excellent introduction. First of all, thank you very much to Atmos for the invitation, for the opportunity for the Coordinating Ministry of Food Affairs to share some updates and to share some thoughts, on how we optimize our blue carbon sector in regards with the on one side to get the revenue from this sector, and on the other side we also willing to uphold our intention to protect our blue carbon, mangrove and seagrass. Yang kami hormati Bu Ria, CEO Atmos, thank you for the invitation. Yang kami hormati Pak Dir Armer from IDX, Pak Edwin. I think I should also address colleagues from other development partners, speakers, and also before I start, I think it's still Sawal. In Lebaran moment, I should like to greet to those who celebrate, yeah, Eid Mubarak, which we have always be blessed by healthiness and prosperity this year and years to come. Bapak Ibu sekalian, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to, I think, to make it more brief in our presentation, and I should declare that in this forum I play two roles. First, as the coordinating ministry, who who act as the advisory board of NBCAP, National Blue Carbon Action Partnership, and second role, yeah, I would like to share as the steering committee or advisory board of the our carbon trading or carbon pricing committee, based on the presidential regulation number 110 2025. So I would like to have a two-sided presentation. First on the what we have done from the side of the NBCAP, and on the other side I will also elaborate or update the previous or the latest progress on the Komprah, ya, Komite Pengarah Nilai Ekonomi Karbon. First of all, yeah, the first slide, please. Okay. Well, first of all, I think, yeah, I will be proudly introduce the National Action Plan on Blue Carbon Management and Protection that has been released on 18 February or last month. These documents yeah, could be as our guidance in national level on or how to protect and to manage the blue carbon sector. We focus on mangrove and seagrass. We all know that Indonesia has around 3.4 million hectares of mangrove and around 660,000 hectares of seagrass that has not been optimized accordingly, since we still have some challenges to do so. So what we are going to do, or what we are going to propose to all stakeholders, not only the government but also the non-government institution, we have 5 strategies and 21 action plans based on our discussion among stakeholders. We have around, I think it was about almost 2 years we discussed these documents. Therefore, actually the period of this action plan should be from 2025, but we are having some delayed. So we will start this year until 2030. Better late than never, I think. So we still optimistic that these strategies and also action plans could be executed accordingly. First, the objectives of this RENACSI or action plan. We see the scattered all aspect on this sector, be it the financing, the program, and it's done by many institutions, many agencies. So we are proposing that it should be harmonized to align the policies as well as the action or the programs across ministries and agencies. Or is it the private sector, the NGOs, etc., to eliminate the regulatory overlap. We observed this last 2 years, and we come up with the agreement among stakeholders that we have to align our our program, and the NBCAP contributes on this document, the RENACSI. So basically, the harmonization of the policy should be there. And the second objective is climate integration. As you know, as I mentioned, that we are now going to have a new paradigm of our carbon trading market, our carbon market. So and in the near future, the blue carbon sector will be one of the our backbone on our carbon market. Knowing that the potential of this sector should, which is the kind of huge potential, as I think it's also mentioned in this document that we could generate around 1.5 gigaton or even more carbon unit from this sector. And last but not least, the blue economy transition. The spirit of the new presidential regulation on carbon pricing or nilai ekonomi carbon that we Indonesian government sees the importance of balancing between the generating the revenue from the carbon market, and at the same time we have to achieve our target of our NDC, because this is our global commitment. So between these two should be balanced. We have to be more or wiser, or what is it? To uphold the correct policy on this on the carbon market. So I would like to touch the each 5 strategies and 21 actions. I think I will share this presentation if necessary. Then I would just to underline some priorities that we as the NBCAP sees the importance of the some points is the biggest challenges that we found out during the discussion with the stakeholders. First, we have to see the importance to take the more attention on the vulnerable groups on the coastal area, with the consideration of 2 reasons. Yeah, first it is very crucial to address this group, since we are talking about the the mangrove in the coastal area, that very relevant and very connected with this group who lives in this area, and we have to empower the communities, and we have to protect them from or prevent to prevent them to to cut the mangrove trees, and we will shift their attention to other activities that could support their economic and social life. So we have done this guidance as the downstream of the Renaxi. And actually the second one, we could jump to the slides concerning the the common strategy and financial instrument. I don't know which. I think it's slide 6. This is also important. It is came up during our discussions with all stakeholders that to upscale the potential of the blue carbon sector, we have a huge challenge on financing this sector. The potential of the revenue from this sector, as I mentioned, it could be, I think, could be higher than forestry sector. Next one, please. Yeah, and we have some avenues on how we could get the support from of financing to this sector. First, on the spatial planning and protection, we can focus on certainty and zoning and emission reduction, restoration, around 395 million. This number is based on our discussion, and we kind of agreed on this number. So we have exact number of exact amount of financing that we need on each activities or programs. So on the third one, on MRV, we could focus on data credibility and verification, and we need to closing the gap if we are talking about seagrass and blue economy and resilience. We need to make sure the community welfare and so on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to underline that at least from our side, from the Coordinating Ministry, we see these two biggest challenges on blue carbon sector is about financing, and also the vulnerable group that we have to address. We hope that in this discussion today we could address these two aspects accordingly. And second part of my presentation, I would like to update some progress. We have now done the process of developing the carbon unit registry system that we are going to use as the one platform national level for registering our carbon unit, and in this system we could do the trading. Sorry. And this system will be interoperable with all registry system internationally or domestically, including the IDX Carbon. I think our colleague from IDX Carbon can be more elaborative on this, scheme. But technically, we are now on the right track. This week or next week, we will do the trial because the design and the infrastructure of this rook has I think is done like probably already 90%, and we are going to do the tests, and we are going to do the interoperability and also some communications with the international registry to make sure that the system will be interoperable. And last slide, I would like to update you that basically the intention or the target of launching or to operate this our carbon market through SRUK. It's going to be the latest was it in June or the latest in July. Hopefully that all the regulation or regulatory framework from all sectors, forestry, industry, energy, waste, agriculture, and last one is our blue carbon will be ready beforehand. So in June or in early July, our carbon market can be launched and can start our we can start our carbon market or carbon trading in due time. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to wrap up my presentation. That first, we have a huge potential in our blue carbon sector, and we provide the guidance through the RENACSI, the National Action Plan, that could be the guideline to align all the pipeline program and also project on blue carbon. I think we have discussed many issues with Dir Amer, the KKP. They are preparing the regulation and also the pilot project. And bottom line, I think I should underline the importance of our collaboration. Therefore, I do appreciate this forum. We need more forum like such because we need to discuss more. We discuss more. We need more venue to discuss this kind of stuff or matters. We see the importance of collaboration on tackling this our carbon market potential. Thank you very much. I will stop here. I will be happy to discuss further with colleagues here. So I would give it back to Pak Rizky, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak Fajar, for the introductions and keynote speech. So I think without further ado, let's go to the second keynote speech. Please welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Amer Hakim, SPI MSE. He is the Director of Marine Spatial Planning Development from the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. He's been since 24 years in the government officer in the Ministry of Fisheries. He held the Master of Science in Bogor Agricultural Universities. And marine and coastal area is also his priority, especially in the mangrove restorations activities as a potential revenue or potential restoration effort that we can think of. So without further ado, please welcome Mr. Amer Hakim as our second keynote speakers. The time is short. I think you have about 7 to 8 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pak Rizky Amadi. Good morning, Pak Fajar, my colleagues from the Ministry of Deputy Food Production and Climate Change Coordinating Minister for Food Affairs. This is my college and help me to develop the strategic number 1 that Pak Fajar has been present for National Action Plan. And all panelists, Mr. Richard Gilmore, Krisyanti, Edwin Hartanto, the ex-Carbon, Pak Aruna, and also moderator Natalie Luki Marsudi, CIO for Atmos, and all participants that want to know more about what is the blue carbon look like. Thank you, everyone. First, I would like to express my deepest gratitude and appreciation especially for AtmosTalk that has been organizing this event, this workshop about the upscaling mangrove restoration activities that into Investable Blue Carbon Project. I feel that this meeting is a crucial and strategic for the national strategic interest in climate change control efforts. That needs to be aligned with the national economic development based on the principle of sustainable and environmentally sound development. Indonesia stands at the forefront of both the challenge and opportunity of the climate change. Along our coast, stretch mangrove forests and seagrass meadows, like Fajar said, which are not just natural fortresses, but also future economic assets through the blue carbon. Blue carbon management is strategic imperative to maintain sustainable development, protect coastal communities, and ensure the competitiveness of national industry in the low carbon economy area. So that's why Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, especially through this Directorate General of Marine Spatial Plan, use marine spatial planning as a key instrument for balancing economic growth, environmental protection, and social compression includes blue carbon allocation. We are not talking about the conservation alone, but about a modern, sustainable, and economically viable coastal development. And Fajar has been said that 20% of world mangrove, Indonesia have the 20%, and the blue carbon already also integrated to second NDC and the newly issued President regulation on the carbon economic value that make us to speed and to establish a national framework that position blue carbon with both climate policy and economic instrument. This regulation define carbon as economic value supported by mechanisms such as carbon trading and result-based payment. And right now, KKP, Minister of Marine Affairs and Fishery, already have the blue carbon roadmap, but since new regulation of the national economic value, carbon economic value, we are under revising the blue carbon roadmap. Next, please. Next, please. So the carbon, what is our position in the blue carbon, especially for the marine spatial planning? So marine spatial plan is have two goals. That's how to improve the quality and effectiveness of the marine spatial plan itself, and how to enhance the community participation. So these two are the objective of marine spatial planning governance. So in the case of the blue carbon projects, we will ensuring the spatial clarity for the blue carbon project or protecting the blue carbon ecosystem. So that's our role from marine spatial planning. Next, please. So follow up the blue carbon project. The blue carbon project is already designed and put it in our priority program for 2025 and till 2029. So we will identify the allocation for the blue carbon ecosystem and designing and make a zoning system in the blue carbon area. For in the information, right now we are in progressing in progress to gazette the guideline how to identify the blue carbon area that already put it in the province spatial plan. Yeah, that's why we need to identify and make a allocation for make the guideline for how to we are allocate the blue carbon ecosystem. Next, and for the blue carbon location itself, Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries right now in the revising National Spatial Planning Plan, or we call it RTRWN, and we are design or formulate 18 indicative location for the blue carbon reserve and the determination of provincial blue carbon location. So we have 18 location in the special area and provincial in the one of the provincial blue carbon location that already subsidized. So the blue carbon marine spatial plan to serve as the foundation for the utilization of marine areas, including the potential of blue carbon ecosystem. That's why the allocation that we already put it in the national spatial planning plan and the provincial plan. So we have make an opportunities for collaboration on the implementation of the blue carbon management with ministries, agency, and also the private sector. Next, as said above that we are calculate that Indonesia have potential 1.3 million hectares of the blue carbon that divided into 600,000 more thousand mangrove in the sea and land that not have the forest status, we call it the area penggunaan lain, and 660,000 hectare of the CGS beds. The issue is about the tenure of the critical issue. That's why for especially the mangrove ecosystem that can be disputed as a tenure issue because some allocation mangrove may be located with the within non-forest land area as well as coastal zone above the shoreline in accordance with the spatial planning. So there may be so there is some belonging or certificate from the community. So that's our challenge to in the developing the mangrove, especially in the land area. And in the sea area, we have the permits for legal compliance. We call it the Marine Special Utilization Permit or KKPRL. So all the carbon project must have, especially in the sea, must have the permit to develop the project itself. And also the environmental and the business licensing. And then right now, business licensing already put, and our college in another directorate general still processing to proceed the regulation for the business licensing. So their regulation are essential to essential requirement to ensure the projects are recognized legally and nationally, especially when right now the project will be have to be monitoring, reporting, and valid verification. Next, for environmental and social protection, marine spatial planning, because we have the zoning design and objective, it will be have to effective zoning use as tier approach. So blue carbon zoning is a strategic spatial planning tools that protects and restore carbon coastal ecosystems such as mangrove, seagrass, and salt marshes, while more supporting sustainable coastal livelihood. The approach combines ecosystem protection with sustainable use zone, allowing activities such as sustainable fisheries and ecotourism while safeguarding critical carbon sinks. Effective zoning also integrates environmental safeguard, including habitat protection, pollution control, and buffer area for sea level rise and social safeguard. And fair benefit sharing from carbon finance, as Fajar said, and the application of free, prior, and informed consent. The next, the role of our next slide. So the role of the MAF, especially for the Directorate General Marine Spatial Planning, is to secure the space from the allocation and to give the permit for the project development. So in the eligibility check stage and feasibility study, we make sure that the allocation is secure and the tenurial also clear. So from this project, we hope that ecosystem area will be expand and it could be maintains the biodiversity self and especially for the community welfare improvement. Next, for doing that, we have one project, the pilot project in the Central Java. And this Central Java in eligibility check, we are cooperation with the Fair Atmos to calculate how much the potential carbon project in the Central Java, especially a lot of the area is in the North Central Java. So we divided 3 clusters from 16 municipal, and it can be planting 60 million trees and employment for 6,000 coastal communities will be involved. And from the eligibility stack, we call it the Fair Atmos call it the market scans. It can be generating almost 17.4 million of the carbon credits, and for annual yield of 438,000 VCU per year. So and in this Central Java, we are also proposing to be gazetted by the Minister of the location of the blue carbon ecosystem. So I think we have it's the critical foundation, MFF policy as a critical foundation for ensuring that mangrove restoration and blue carbon projects are legal, credible, and sustainable. So Minister of Marine Fishery is fully committed to ensuring the sustainability of our coastline through marine spatial planning, the prosperity of our communities, and the competitiveness of our national industry in the low carbon area. Thank you very much for short speech, and back to moderator.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Amar, for the explanation. Also, thank you for trusting us to help you with the work with the Central Java. So I guess before we go to the main moderator sessions, I think next slide, please. Let's have a quick virtual photo session first. Of course, Mr. Fajar, Mr. Amer, feel free to join the event until the end. But if you want to leave earlier, it's also fine later on during the session. But we're more than welcome to have to you in this event. But I think let's take a virtual group photo. Can everyone please share your open your camera and maybe spotlight the main keynote, Mr. Amer and Mr. Fajar, and also all the speakers. Rich, Grace also. Wait, let me spotlight. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I guess all the key person here. Filza, how many screenshots do we have?
We're going to have around 2 screenshots.
Okay.
the slides.
Okay. Okay. On my count until 3, please help the screenshot. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Lovely. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. So I guess let's get back to the sessions. Let's get back to the session. So, okay. To continue, I will give the sessions to our moderator, our founder and CEO, Miss Natalia Rialuki, to help the panel discussions. So, you have time around, I think, around 11:42. So in total 1 hour from now, with the panel discussion and also the Q&A sessions. So 1 hour from now is you can wrap up, including the Q&A. So I'll leave the sessions to Miss Natalia. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Rizky. Welcome everyone to AtmosTalk. And this topic for this time is scaling up mangrove restoration activities into investable blue carbon projects. My name is Ria, and I will be your moderator today. And before we start, I would like to also wish everyone a very celebratory and festive Eid. Hopefully, we can have a new start in this new after the holy month towards the end of the year as well. It has been a very insightful keynote speeches that we have been hearing from the governments, and I think it is also
I think it's accidentally out.
Oh yeah. So let me help back up.
I'm back. I think I'm
Sorry,
back.
sorry.
Yes, it is the only time that the internet dropped, which is when I start talking. All right, okay. So we have been hearing very insightful keynote speeches from the government, in which also give us very positive hope regarding where the carbon market is going, especially on blue carbon. However, the question is, how can we really unlock this potential? As we have heard from Pak Director Ahmer, Indonesia owns and Southeast Asia owns almost 33% of the global mangrove. And if you're looking at the carbon market as well, there has been also growing demand on the blue carbon, in which report has stated that the prices has reached up to $30 last year alone. But the question is, why are there not more blue carbon projects across the region? What are the barriers? How can we unlock it? And for those of you based in Indonesia, for example, we have seen a lot of mangrove planting activities in the CSR or corporate social responsibility activities. What does it take to convert it to be more investable blue carbon project? And what is very important is also how do we also take care of the community in the coastal area that could also answer the question from Pa Ahmer earlier today, right? To answer those questions, we have three great speakers that will share their thoughts about the market and share also about their views on how to unlock this. Our first speaker, he is the CEO of Carbon Growth Partners, and he is a leading expert in carbon markets as well as conservation finance, with a 30-year career spanning financial markets, climate change, and conservation. He has led over $400 million in climate and natural capital investments and deploying more than $220 million to the voluntary carbon market. Wow. And as a blue carbon expert, he is also serving as the director of the Mangrove Action Project and is trained in ecological mangrove restoration. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me to welcome Mr. Rich Gilmore. Hi, Rich. How are you?
Ria, thank you for having me. Eid Mubarak to everybody, and thank you, Pak Fajar and Pak Amir, for your opening comments and for your leadership in blue carbon and in carbon markets. And we can touch on in the session why that leadership is so unique and so important in the carbon market.
Thank you, Rich. We really can't wait to hear your thoughts on that note. And I would love to welcome the second speaker for today. She is the Vice Director for Research, Monitoring, and Database at Yagasu. She has over than a decade of experience in climate change mitigation and adaptation, project monitoring, and evaluation. She has previously experienced in the tax office as well as the Greenpeace, and she has contributed to multiple scientific publications on mangrove ecosystems, carbon stocks, and environmental management. Can we have a round of applause for Ibu Grace? Hi, Ibu Grace. How are you?
Hello, Maria. Thank you for Atmos having us that we can share our
Very
experience. Thank you for Pak Fajar and also Pak Ahmad and also Mr. Rich and Aruna. So yeah, thank you so much.
very pleasant to have you, Ibu Grace. And of course, everybody would love to ask all about your project and about Yagasu. And last but not least, our very own Chief Commercial Operating Officer at Atmos, who is a trained biologist and also a visiting lecturer at the Nanyang Technology University in Singapore on executive carbon market class. He is a professional across the sustainable land use strategic partnerships across Southeast Asia with prior experience at Systemic, along with a strong track record working with government, SOEs, NGOs, and he brings deep expertise in carbon markets, landscape management, technology, and also few about the Southeast Asia carbon and blue carbon markets. Let us all welcome Aruna. Hi, Aruna. How are you?
Hi, Ria. All good here. Hi, Rich. Good to see you. And Mbak Grace, good to also finally meet you here. Looking forward to the great session ahead.
Thank you so much. And now that we have all these esteemed panelists, we will have 2 rounds of individual questions, and then we'll open for fireside chat sessions where everybody can jump in and share their ideas. Let's start with the first question for Rich. Rich, you have deployed over than 220 million into voluntary carbon market. Can you tell us more about
Risky, what would you like me to tell the participants more about?
Sorry. Yeah, I think Ria is missing again. So yeah, I think basically the two questions. Can you tell us more about like how what brings you to the sectors, and what do you think is the unique within the sectors, like why specifically blue carbon, and when you see the project, what kind of criteria do you see?
I'll start with the first one around blue carbon. There are some impact metrics that are important to us, and there are obviously financial and scaling metrics that are important to us. So stepping back a little bit about how Carbon Growth Partners, as an investor in carbon markets, seeks to identify projects. There are 3 broad categories that we think about. The first category, and those 3 categories are quality, scarcity, and utility. So quality is the one I think that most people think about in the carbon market at the moment. Is it a high quality project? Is there strong governance in place? Is the project being developed under at least a CCP approved standard, if not yet a CCP approved methodology? All of the things that we know well in terms of quality and integrity, and we can deep dive on those if it would be useful. The next is the scarcity. And so as an investor, we want to generate returns that are difficult to replicate, in which we have particular IP and knowledge. And mangroves are in particular a very scarce asset to invest in globally. So we talked a lot earlier, the panelists talked a lot earlier around the scale of the mangrove ecosystems in Indonesia. As everyone on this call knows, Indonesia is one of probably 3 places in the world where you can do the most mangrove restoration, alongside Brazil and Mexico. And then there's a long tail of other countries that are also relevant. But if you look at the investable area, in Indonesia, the restorable area in Indonesia, it's much smaller than the 3 million hectares total. It's perhaps somewhere between 100,000 and 200,000 hectares of potentially restorable area, or at least area that is restorable for a reasonable carbon price. So it's not actually a very big investable universe, which makes it scarce. And utility, we don't share the notion that some have that we should all just invest in compliance markets. We think there's a really important role for both voluntary carbon markets and compliance carbon markets, where much of the value is created is when you are able to use the voluntary carbon market infrastructure, and this is the case in Indonesia, use the voluntary carbon market infrastructure, the standards, the methodologies, the verification frameworks to develop carbon instruments, carbon credits that can be used for both a domestic or global compliance market and an international voluntary market. And so when you think about those sort of three big buckets, quality, utility, and scarcity, then after you go down that screen, then you're at the individual level of looking at which countries in which to invest and which projects in which to invest. And I can talk about that in more detail, but at the high level, those are the three things that we're looking for. The other thing that is important is to think about where the demand will come from, and this is a big one that that everyone is thinking about at the moment. It's very difficult to get a project financed at the moment without an offtake agreement in place. And so you want to be looking for projects that have line of sight to demand, in particular for sector relevant or project relevant sectors. So, for example, shipping and other marine industries that want to offset their emissions using project types that are relevant to their sector. And so those are a couple of things that we really care about. And maybe we'll let the other turn to some other panelists first before we do a deep dive on those things and specifically what we look for in projects, and in particular, the risks that we are seeking to mitigate. 5 years ago, when there was a lot of enthusiasm about climate action after the Glasgow COP, most people were thinking about the carbon market opportunity. Now, most investors are thinking about the carbon market risk and how you de-risk projects. And I can talk about what we look for in risks and how to de-risk those as well.
Thank you so much, Rich. I definitely catch all what you just said, so don't worry. And thank you, Risky, for covering. Maybe just one deep dive questions before we go to Aruna for talking about the market. Like when you pointed out regarding the demand, right, Rich, could you share a little bit more about, who are these demands, but also on what is your view about the supply? Where are they? As you mentioned, not all of them have the three criteria that you have. What probably are the main challenges for the supply side that you're looking into the market at the moment?
Yeah, the market, this has changed quite a bit. So when the market was first sort of taking off in 2020, 2021, the view was that this was really a supply dominated market or supply constraint dominated market. So in other words, if you could generate a high quality carbon credit, you would be able to sell it because, as more and more companies entered the market, you should focus on scaling up supply because the demand would be there. And the reality is that the demand has grown over the past 5 years. Retirements were higher. Carbon credit retirements were a record last year, just not by very much. They just haven't grown to the extent at which you would hope. And at the same time, more projects have come into the pipeline. And so for these kinds of projects, for mangrove restoration projects, seagrass restoration projects that have a higher cost of production and a higher willingness to pay, there's a subset of buyers in the market who have both the interest and the willingness to pay for blue carbon credits. Most of those at the moment are still in the US and in some cases Europe.
Right.
So US technology companies offsetting the growth in emissions from data centers and AI, and to another extent, sort of shipping companies who are looking to have sector relevant offsets. And so that's why at the moment the prices for blue carbon are holding up pretty well, as you mentioned earlier, above $30 a ton, and we expect that to grow. But it is a relatively small pool of buyers, technology-based companies at the moment, who have the willingness to pay the prices that blue carbon projects need to be successful.
Right, right. No, I think that's a very valid point. That it's very still giving a comfort that there is still growing demands. But I guess it also translates to what next and how do project developers also think about building their projects as well to meet this even more concentrated though growing demands, right? So let's ask Aruna, because in your experience and looking at the market, what are the challenges that project developers, asset owners are seeing today when they are thinking about setting up their blue carbon projects?
Yeah, thanks, Ria. So I guess we can see one way to see this is through the project development cycle that Pak Amer previously presented, right? So I guess when we talk especially specific to Indonesia, one of the key pain points even early on is the eligibility check itself, right? So as mentioned by both Pak Amer and the Ministry for Food Affairs, is that a lot of the mangrove assets in Indonesia are actually managed by communities, vulnerable communities with limited access to understanding of carbon projects or carbon financing in general. So even early on, despite the huge potential, no one really knows where to start and how to even know whether their area is eligible or not. And so that's the first one. And I think building on to what Rich mentioned before, I think it's also an interesting point that we observe. Rich mentioned that out of the 3 million hectares potential, maybe only 100 to 200,000 hectares is actually restorable. We've also seen similar trends in some areas where we help asset owners or communities assess their land, where out of 100% of their land, actually there's only sometimes a range between 10 to 30% of area that's eligible or that is potentially creditable, right? So the question of making sure that an area is economically productive enough and operationally feasible to develop as a carbon project is also a key pain point in a lot of the areas that we've worked with and in the region. But also lastly, even after that, the biggest pain point is really on when we think about doing the implementation and scaling the mangrove restoration activities, right? So mangrove restoration is technically and operationally complex, even compared to the typical restoration activities in mineral soil. It's usually much more higher cost, higher upfront cost with higher risk. We know that the restoration cost of mangrove is high, and we know that historically direct planting for mangrove restoration model yield a lower rate of success compared to mineral soil based reforestation. But also in mangrove, when we think about the technical capabilities, you need to think about the land suitability. Oh, what kind of species is suitable for my area, whether there's any seedling available for those type of species. How would the sea level rise trend look like across the next 20 to 30 years? Would the area that I'm restoring today will still be there in 20 years, or will it be flooded or inundated, or will it be gone due to the rising sea level because of climate change, right? So I think there are multiple pain points throughout each of this stage of project development. And today, there are very few tools that enables a lot of these asset owners or project developers to be able to answer those key challenges early on, to be able to deleverage the risk of the project development.
No, thanks so much, Aruna. Did you want to share on what you have already on tackling on those challenges?
Yeah, sure. So I think building onto the pain point, I kind of saved this for the next question, but maybe let me also share my screen on the learnings that basically since 2022, Fair Atmos has spoken with more than 800 projects, and we've assessed more than 80 million hectares of land across the region. And just to check, Ria, can you see my screen?
Yeah, all good. Yes.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing that we have done in our company is first is the knowledge management aspect of the project, right? So as mentioned, as one of the key pain point for a lot of this asset owners or project developers is they don't even know what kind of activities that can be done in their area, right? So what we've done in our platform is we built a product that specifically answered to this. So if you go to our website and oops, it's freezing. Give me 2 seconds. And you go to in our home screen, you go to Explore and the Southeast Asia Carbon Methodologies Finder. Basically, you'll go to a page where you can search on any kind of a methodology that's eligible for all countries in Southeast Asia, right? So for example, if I search for restoration, it will return 15 methodologies that is relevant for the region. And if I filter it even further to do blue carbon, which we specifically make to accommodate for the mangrove ecosystem in the region, you can take a look here on all of the relevant methodologies for each countries for specific for mangrove restoration, right? And to maybe for most of us, this still doesn't really mean anything, right? What does isometric mangrove restoration mean? What does the VM33 mean? So what we have also done here is, for example, you can also compare between different methodologies to see what are the key difference and which one is more relevant to your area, right? So for example, here I compare the VM33 for Indonesia with ISM Mangrove. And when we click on that, it gives you the summary of the comparison. So I think what we're
Right.
trying to do here is really to democratize the accessibility of information and the knowledge to a lot of the asset owners and the project developers, so they know what to expect if they choose to explore a carbon or a blue carbon project development, right?
It's good that you mentioned there's also the CCP label, and I think there are also people in this call who's based in Vietnam and Philippines, so it's also applicable for those countries. Is it?
Yeah, correct. So basically, it's already available for the whole Southeast Asia countries, as you can see here. And as Ria mentioned on the filter here, you can filter which methodologies that's already aligned with core carbon principles, which Rich mentioned as the rule of thumb for a high integrity, high quality product. And you have key certification schemes that is also relevant in terms of the market leader in the industry for mostly voluntary carbon market scheme. Right? So that's the first one, and I think another one. So maybe Indras, if you can help to share screen, I would also love to share more about the second tool that we developed to answer the eligibility question that a lot of asset owners also have, right? So when you know, now that you understand the different methodologies for blue carbon, then what's next, right? So I have a piece of land now. I want to know whether this land is actually eligible or not. So what we have done in our website or platform too is we developed this product called AtmosTalk, which is basically like an eKYC for your project area, where you can upload your parcel of land to our platform, and the platform would be able to instantly check the potential of your project area in terms of eligibility, carbon potential, and revenue potential. So for example, here, if we create new project, here you can choose the project type. When we think of mangrove, then it would fall under agriculture and forestry. So if we can click on agriculture and forestry, now there's a list of questions, which basically on the back end of the engine, it would help to determine what kind of activities and methodology would be eligible for your area. So let's go through. Say our area is located in Indonesia. We can choose whether we want to use the national standard or other standard. Let's use other standard in this example. And whether we work in private entity lands or community lands, say we work in community. And then you can choose whether it's what kind of scheme is it. So is it a social forestry or perhutanan sosial, or a community plantation forest, or hutan tanaman rakyat. So say we choose social forestry here. And now after that set of questions, what we need to do is we just need to upload the shape file of your project area or the map. So yeah. So there are a couple of file extension that you need to upload. And in this example, we use Tanah Tidung, which is a coastal area in North Kalimantan. Now, after you upload, you can just click next. And basically what happens now is that our engine is translating on that map what kind of land cover is on top of it, what kind of land use information is there. Is it a kawasan hutan? Is it a forest area, or is it a non-forest area? Does it fall under protection area or production area? All of this are relevant to determine on whether your project is eligible for carbon activities or not, right? And maybe in the interest of time, Indra, so maybe okay. So if we just go below here, you can already see that it gives you a brief information on where the project exactly is in Tanah Tidung, and you can just fill in your project name, your organization name, and then you can submit your project from here or confirm. Basically, yeah, what happens after this is that you will receive a report directly from the platform to tell you whether the area is eligible or not for carbon. So maybe Indra's happy for let me share my screen. So I think in the interest of time, just want to show okay, just making sure if okay, I don't think my screen is showing.
Your screen is showing. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we can see the result.
So this is the result. Basically, what would happen is that you can already find out the executive summary of your project. It shows that where is the area, where does it fall in terms of the regency, how big of the area, and how big is the crediting area. So as you can see here, and I think aligns with also what Rich mentioned before, not all mangrove area is always eligible for carbon credit area. As you can see, there's a discrepancy between the total area and the project or crediting area. You can also see the methodology potential here. The credit, the carbon credit potential, and also the revenue potential, right? And if we go, so let me go through quickly. If we go below, if we go down, you can also see what does each of those methodology mean. So you understand what is the expected activity that I need to do as a project developer or asset owner. We also give you the eligibility map. So from the total area here on the blue color is basically the restoring wetland ecosystem activities. So this is where the mangrove restoration would happen. The red area is the REDD plus, so that's where the conservation or protection activity need to happen. And the gray area is where the area is ineligible, right? And so what we also take into account here is we also look at the land cover, right? So there's a lot of rich information that people can see here to understand, oh, what is actually on top of my area? Is it actually intact mangrove? Is it wood shrubs? Is it oil palm in some cases, or grassland and some aquaculture ponds, right? And we also take into account the land use status, whether it falls under conservation area, protection area, production forest. So all of this is relevant to determine what kind of activities that we can do. And we also share this in a tabular version of the numbers.
Yeah. I don't know. I may have to cut you short, but I think it makes sense for everyone to try and see how it works. And because Ibu Grace has been nodding to hopefully share that this is one pain points that we are solving as well, I would love to pass it to Ibu Grace because there's also a question, Ibu Grace, from Alfie in the chat that's asking, now that the regulation is already out, how is the on-the-ground implementation of carbon projects? So I think we are very happy to have you as one of the project that has been listed under gold standard, one of the first in Indonesia for blue carbon. Can we have a round of applause for Yagasu? So I think that's really great. Would love to hear from you, Bu Grace. I think noting like what were the pain points, how did you do it? Could you share us a little bit about your organization and your projects as well?
Yeah, thank you, Maria. So yeah, before to explain the question, I would like to explain a little bit briefly about Yagasu. Yagasu was established as a foundation in 2001 by Mr. Bambang Suprayogi, who have a long-term practical experience in land-based climate action that fulfill a unique role, providing innovative space and finance for nature-based solution, climate mitigation and adaptation, biodiversity conservation, and green economic development. Okay, and our objective is to restore and maintain coastal and watershed ecosystem for GHG emission reduction through increasing biomass from the tree plantation and soil organic carbon, improvement of community resilience to the impacts of climate change, and natural disaster prevention, biodiversity conservation, and green livelihood development. So yeah, to answer the question, in 2015, this is the first carbon certification that we obtained with FERA. At that moment, can you imagine that the Indonesian regulation and to say maybe the not many people talking about the carbon, but Yagasu with a big vision that believe through this carbon project by mangrove restoration can bring not just only state that carbon itself is important, but also to give another channel of livelihood that community can get income from the activity. So yeah, Yagasu as a foundation, of course, fully under all the Indonesian regulation, and these two past 2 years, I think the Indonesian regulation is already like developed and then supporting the blue carbon project. So yes, based on our coordination to the ministry, that for now is like for ministry, like related to this blue carbon project, yeah. And then we found that we can enhance the previous performs, and then we adapt to the new regulation, like from the SRN to the STRUC later on. So I think that's good that for now, Indonesian regulation align with to support the project implementer and developer to develop the blue carbon project. So I think that's my comment, Ria.
Thank you, Bu Grace. I would love to deep dive into your project actually. Could you share us a little bit about it? Like, where is it? Who do you get involved with? What are the biggest challenges when you're doing it on the ground? Why, what makes you keep on doing it for so long time, right? Now it's already like 2026, and you're already starting it since 2017. So tell us more about your, stories, your pain, your challenges on the ground too, and funny or sad stories, okay too. Please go ahead, Grace.
Yes, okay, as showing in our screens. So Yagasu conducted NBS on biodiversity conservation and community since 2001, yeah. We implemented in 9 provinces in Indonesia now, and will be developed in another 11 provinces of Indonesia. And Yagasu not just only develop the mangrove, but also agroforestry. So yeah, this almost 20 years of implementation, as you're asking, but Ria, yeah, so many experience that we faced, or maybe challenge also that we face, but examples, yeah, like I will show you. We have the stages. Maybe Mbak Indra can help me to provide the PPT. The 9 stages.
Amazing. Is it
Next,
this one?
please.
The
Yeah.
timeline?
No, one more.
One more slide.
Next, please. Yes. Okay, yeah.
Got
So
it.
this is
Okay.
how we implement our project in the village. Yeah. First is we identify what is the eligible land, what is the community condition, and then also the risks. And then after that, we develop the how to say preparing to conduct the program socialization, that we to make sure that FPIC is a huge part to give uh, time for the community inclusively, that they can choose or not this project. And then after that, we do the land assessment, because sometimes, as what Aruna explained, the data from the satellite imagery is different with the real condition, right? So land assessment is also the key point that important for us to make sure that the land is actual eligible, that the land has a good sediment, the land is a good how to say or lower risks, yeah. And then after that, we explain to the community that we have the certain number, that area that very good or potential to be planted. And if the community agree, and then we sign the MOU. And then after that, we develop the nursery work. So with our project, we always give the first chance to the local community to have their own nursery works, compared to purchase from the big breeder. Because what? Because we want the community also have a capacity to start the project, and then
Yeah.
understand fully the project from the first step into uh, the end of the project. And then we planting the seedlings, and then we do the monitor activities, and then we do also the ecosystem patrolling. And then after that, we offer to them the social economic support. So this is the 9 stages of activity that we give to them. And the challenges sometimes is difficult in the program socialization and in planting activity. Yeah. Of course, the socialization that we conducted sometimes is cannot fully inviting all the community around the village, right? So sometimes we
Yeah.
need more, how to say, accommodate that
Mm.
maybe certain of group told us like, oh, we would like to involve, but then we conduct again the next meeting just to make sure that all this voice, all this community, or all these how to say groups of a community can be accommodate or can be involved in the FPIC first process, because the successful of the Blue Carbon Project is not just only based on this one exclusive community group, but also supporting by the entire of a community in this village.
Yeah.
So
How
yeah, that's the challenge. Yeah.
how big is the
Yes.
team that you are managing on the ground to cover all of these villages that you're working with?
Sorry, how many
How many people?
villages?
Now your team to cover it
Oh,
means
my
do
team.
you have to
Oh, yeah.
have a big organization, right?
Yes, yes, yeah. For because our project is like stretched from Aceh,
Yeah.
North Sumatra, and also West Sumatra. Yeah, almost full of West Sumatra, and then we expand in 2021 to Java.
Wow.
So for now, yeah, for the technical team is around 70 people, 70%. But we
Wow.
also
Huge.
involve a temporary team, such as
Yeah.
like a facilitator from
Yeah.
forestry department, each
Yeah.
regional, and also a facilitator from PKSM, if you ever
Yeah.
heard about the PKSM. And also we involve stakeholder per each district, so it will be help
Nice.
us also, because sometimes these stakeholders has a big network, yeah, to the
Yeah.
there are certain groups of like, let's say, climate hero or forest hero, something like this. So it's really easy to obtain the real-time
Yeah.
information or update from the field. So I think this very good coordination. I think Yagasu as a foundation, we don't want to starting from the um, village level. We
Mm.
always coordinate to the ministry first
Right.
to
Yeah.
expand our program, and then to the
Hmm.
province government, and then to the district government. So this coordination very helpful for us, because yes,
Yeah.
we can support the government strategical national program, and then government also can how to say support us by the policy and the regulation.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Bu Grace. I think that really helps us to go to our second round of discussion. And looking at the time, maybe this is also, let's do it a rapid session where everyone can jump in. And I'll trigger with the first question. And maybe would love to hear from you, Rich, on your first view on this as well. So I think we've been hearing, what are the potential and what are the challenges on the ground, especially looking at this Blue Carbon Project as one of the high integrity project methodology, right? But there's so much to do on the ground that makes it, a lot of cost, a lot of community engagement, people that we need to really mobilize to make sure this have a very high credibility and acceptance on the community level. How are you balancing, or for all of you, right, from the demand side, from the developer side, enabler side as well? How should people balance between really making the best and the most ideal, the most highest integrity blue carbon projects, as well as thinking about cost efficiency, returns, and delivering the sustainable climate finance that we want to achieve in carbon markets? How do you think about these two, I would say perhaps polarizing view? Go ahead, Rich. Yes.
Thanks, Ria. I think Ibu Grace made a really good presentation there, and something in that presentation reminded me of something in an earlier presentation that I think I should highlight for anyone considering developing a carbon project. And it was probably just the slides, an omission from the slides, as opposed to an omission from the project. But the number one thing that we look for in terms of the efficacy and the sort of longevity of a project is, as part of the restoration work, has the cause of degradation been addressed?
Right.
And that typically means in Indonesia and almost everywhere, unless it is, abandoned shrimp ponds like it is in Vietnam and Thailand and elsewhere, it's usually related to the hydrology. So if you go and plant 60 million trees, as was put on the slide earlier, without having addressed what caused those trees to die in the first place, you won't have a successful project. I'm sure Ibu Grace and the team are doing the hydrology, but I would absolutely mention in there that is a key step, both as a restoration intervention. And you mentioned in your question there, Ria, about the cost effectiveness.
Yeah.
That is by far the cheapest intervention. It can be as simple as culverting, putting a culvert in a road, or removing a barrier that is preventing flow, or dredging a channel that is closed up with silt. And then, as you know, mangroves, if you get that right, mangroves will come back on their own.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say, I mentioned risk earlier, 5 big categories of risk. So physical risk, hurricane, fire, sea level rise, execution risk on the ground, like community partnership risk, stuff like that. The methodology risk, is it a good methodology? Will it get CCP? The market risk and the price risk, and the policy and regulatory risk. As a project developer, you only need to worry about one of those. Worrying about the other 4 is my job. So you just need to do a good job on the ground with the community and make sure that you have all the permits in place. It's my job to understand the physical risk, the methodology risk, the market risk, the policy risk. So don't spread yourself too thin trying to address everything that could go wrong in the project of those 5 things, because you can only control one of those. Focus on the one that you can control, which is doing a good job on the ground and with the community, and the market has to look after the rest.
It's very giving us conviction and confidence to just really focus on what we can control. Rich, could you tell us maybe an experience where you work on in other parts of the country or in other parts of the world, right? Where you feel like the project developer, the community, plays a very good role. What was the best practice? What makes it work? What made it work so that it could be a successful project?
We are in just this week, in fact, right now, in Mexico. The VVB is in the field completing the validation audit. It is similar in that in Mexico as in Indonesia, in that all of the carbon assets are either owned or controlled by local communities. And so the tenure is community tenure. And so one of the things that is really important as an investor is to be able to understand the qualitative components of a partnership. So you can see on a piece of paper in Indonesia or in Mexico who owns or controls that land. But what it says on the piece of paper is not the same as what's really happening on the ground. So really understanding how strong are those relationships. How bought into that are the sub-jurisdictional governors and village heads and those sort of people. And in Mexico, that is working really well. And we see our job as investors is to help those local communities in Indonesia and in Mexico and elsewhere realize their dreams and goals. That is not our carbon. That's the community's carbon. They own it. And so it's our job to help them realize that benefit. And if we can do so profitably, great. But our job is to help the community realize its goal, because it's the community and their government partners who own the asset, not us. But so places like that around the world, Mexico is a good one. But we've done, there's places like Myanmar you would love to be able to work, but bit complicated for lots of reasons. But lots of places around the world that have those sort of attributes. There was a question in there about why only 200,000 hectares. That's just so most of Indonesia's mangroves are intact. That's good. That's good news. And so only a subset of that is degraded and restorable. The other filter on that is the estimate that is how much is restorable for a reasonable carbon price. If the carbon price is $300 per ton, more hectares are restorable because you can do more difficult projects. But we have a filter of $60 a ton because we think that is the max that the market will be able to pay in the medium term.
Yeah, no, Rish, I think that's a very good point regarding the what's the appetite or the maximum price that can make sense as well, right? Because I think a lot of the intervention may also require quite a sizable investment as well that needs to be put into account. But on your note regarding community, I would like to go back to maybe Bu Grace and Aruna. So could you tell us, your experience in managing the relationship with the community, right? Like what Rich has mentioned. What worked with you? What kind of form? How to build that relationship? And I think the most important question is also how to help them understand that it is also their benefits and their rights to manage and own and benefit from the carbon attributes that they can help to obtain out of conducting restoration and protection activities. Maybe Ibu Grace or Aruna, feel free to share experience.
Tuan, me?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, Maria. Okay, yeah. So as what I explained previously, that Yagaso always makes a big concentration from the program socialization. Yeah. So this is the main or the critical stages that we can, how to say, explore as many as we can. The community inside the one village, let's say the small scope is one village. So then we gather them, we explain to them with a very very simple words, because blue carbon is so scientific terms, right? So
That's
how
cool. Yeah.
we, yes, how we change this and how we explain to them in this very very simple way, so they can understand and they can, how to say, forget the past pattern, because maybe from the past pattern of project is just only asking them to planting, and then after planting nothing activity to be continued or to be monitored. So that's why in this program socialization stages we enhance the FPIC scheme, we maximize everything to make sure that the community can be inclusively involved, and then understand what they will get after the 4 years of implementation, and then what is the carbon benefit sharing that they will get. And this is much transparent between the, let's say, 3 actors: developer, and then a community, and also implementer. So I think in this stage, it's not just only 1, 2, 3 meetings. So it will be several meetings, depend on the needs in the field. So I think this is a very good strategy that Yagasu implemented in the field. So that's why, and also we create some kind of a platform like WhatsApp group to enhance the communication between from the village level or community to the to us, the implementer. So I think that's the good technique that we can maintain and then develop in the village level. Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Maria.
much, Ibu Grace. Aruna, do you want to add anything? And I think I also cut you into the last solutions that you want to share regarding implementation challenges as well.
Nah, it's okay. Just I guess just very quickly, I think everything that Bu Grace shares we also resonate with us. I think for us it's really about being present with the communities, right? So one of the I think one of the key challenges or where often project developers make error on community engagement is they see it as a one-off engagement or just a tick box, right? But
Yeah.
you just have to be there. So I think our lessons learned when we're doing our project in North Kalimantan is just about having the team on the ground and building genuine relationship with the communities, right? I think as what Ibu Grace shares. Mangrove is complex. Talking about the science of blue carbon is complex. Packaging
Yeah.
this narrative into something that is easily digestible is also an art, a form of art on how to communicate that. But also, I think another thing that's really important is when we work with communities and blue carbon, when we do this kind of restoration, it takes years before you can see result, right, in terms of
Yeah.
monetary result. So the question is always, when you work with communities, you cannot ask them to wait for that long before you can convince them to join the scheme, right? So finding the right balance on what are the right shorter term initiatives to keep them engaged and to keep them incentivized to understand that there's a shorter term benefit from this kind of restoration activities before the longer term yield from the carbon credit sales itself is really important, right? And I guess to building upon that, I think with the shorter term initiative, what we've seen works really well that also aligns with the project needs on the ground is the question of nursery, right? Because when we think about doing blue carbon restoration, one of the key pain point is also to have a steady stock of seedlings of
Yeah.
the right species that you want to plant, right? Now, what's the best way to build this? It's usually a combination between local wisdom and technology, right? We know the local communities know what works. They know the right species where it has to be planted, where what kind of area is eligible, but where technology can support is then how can we scale this? How can we build a nursery that is operationally efficient and scalable to a model where, if we have 5,000 hectares, 10,000 hectares that needs to be restored, we have a ready to deploy model that can suffice the project needs, but also generate that kind of a shorter term benefit for the communities through employment, right? So what Atmos built is what we call Atmos Restore, which is a model of smart nursery where in this case we built upon the local wisdom of the communities, but we try to embed IoTs and a lot of different tools that is designed to be able to optimize the yield of this nursery, which is basically in the long term, it's designed to optimize the survival rate of the trees in the mangrove area, but also press down the initial capital expenditure of doing the mangrove restoration activities.
Thank you so much, Aruna. I think I would love to just pick two last questions on the from the chat box before we go for the last wrapping up comments from each speaker. Maybe Ibu Grace, there are two short questions that is directed to you. Number one is at the desk study stage, could you share us how you typically estimate the operational cost for a mangrove restoration project, especially when there is still a lot that has not been fully identified yet in terms of what are the actual challenges and costs that is needed, right? And then if you could also touch base a little bit about your biodiversity. So what in terms of from Rama, there is a lot of challenges that involves in both diversity and community aspect, particularly on the biodiversity side. Could you share experience, what any challenges or how do you overcome in making sure that the biodiversity aspect of your project is taken care of?
Okay, so operational cost, yeah. Of course, we structurizing the the what to say of the funding project or the proposal project to support this blue carbon project from the preparation, implementation, and then post implementation. As what Mr. Aruna explained, that back again to the stages, please, Mbak Indras, maybe you can help me for the slide. Slide.
It's slide 38 or
The
30.
stages.
Yeah,
Yeah, five, I think. 5.
35.
Slide 5. Yeah. So all this
Yeah.
structure of activities included into the operational cost. So yeah, if you expected that I could give it like very numbers, maybe we can have a special meeting on that. But yes, all the operational costs should be covering this all restoration activities. Yeah, this is the how we design, and then work together to project developer just to make sure that during the preparation, implementation, and post-implementation, all these schemes will be work good and then give back the benefit to the community as much as we can. So I think that's the very general answer that I can give to you. And for the second question
Yes.
about
Mhm.
the
Biodiversity.
biodiversity, yes, we established our PSP, permanent sampling plot, in like randomly representing our polygon, our parcels of planting plot. We monitor, and then we identified, we check, and then we report this frequently based on the annual year sometimes, or if something happens like something urgent, or yeah, urgent happen, we can do it like accidentally, depend on the purpose. So yeah, we have monitor, and this is one of our successful also to obtain the gold standard certification design, yeah, that we can provide the biodiversity data surrounding in our project site. Yes, I
Thank
think
you
that's
so
all I can
much.
explain, Maria.
Thank you so much, Bu Grace. There is just like recently, Pak Ardens shared a question. I think number one has been covered by Ibu. And then on I think one, two is still okay. And then maybe just last one, Bu Grace, regarding the blue carbon. No, I think this one, I'm not sure this is for you. Pak Arden, correct me if I'm wrong, but this should be for the KKP team, is it? For when is the business licensing regulation expected to be finalized? So I guess we will be sharing this question to Pak Amer, and hopefully they can get back to you also on this question. Just before the last round up, Rich, do you want to touch base anything about additionality? I think you raised an important point regarding that
Yeah,
in the chat. Yes.
yeah, I think the additionality of restoration projects is clear, but for conservation projects, we really just have to demonstrate that it is the carbon finance that led to the conservation outcome, not a regulatory requirement or a law prohibiting it. Otherwise, it's hard to prove the additionality. So just want to think about. I mean, yeah, easy for restoration, a bit more challenging for conservation.
All right. Thank you so much, Rich. And I think that would be the end of the moderated session. I would love to give each panelist a time to share their last thought. Because this is one of the most well-attended session, ladies and gentlemen. There are 155 people who's standing by and listening to your experiences. So if you could give, your last remarks, comments, most of them that's tuning in are project developers. I see also government officials, community groups who are thinking to look into blue carbon projects, as well as there are also people from Vietnam, Philippines, and other parts of the market. Would love to give the floor maybe to Rich first. What would be your last concluding remarks to take away for the audience here?
One of the Indonesia, and there's some other countries on the call, as you said, but using Indonesia as an example, it is much less important what the rules are than that it is that the rules are clear. And Indonesia is setting clear rules for how these projects should work, how they will be developed, and how they will interact with the NDC. So that is a great asset for the people on the call in Indonesia. That is a great asset for you. For the people dialing in from other countries, that is a really important one for you to continue to progress with your government. It doesn't really matter what the rules are. We just need to know those rules to be able to invest with confidence. And as I said before, lots of things can go wrong in a carbon project. Just focus on the ones that you can control, and investors like ourselves will do the rest. And so good hydrological restoration, good community engagement, all the right permits, do a good job on that. You are most of the way to a successful project.
Thank you so much, Rich. Ibu Grace, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yes, for me, based on Yagaso experience, yeah, blue carbon project are more than climate solutions. The investment of resilient coastline and thriving communities and long-term sustainability. By restoring mangroves, you are not just only capturing the carbon, but you are protecting livelihoods, strengthen ecosystem, and creating real, measurable impact for a generation to come. So, yeah, during the implementation, we can facing so many challenges, or yeah, we can predict by risks. But as long as we have a clear vision, clear goal, we are not alone. We have another parties to support us, government, project developer, implementer, uh, other NGO and consultants. So I think it will be a good NBS solution for nowadays. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you so much, Mbak Grace. Okay, Aruna, over to you.
I think everyone stole my remarks. So I need to be creative on this one. But I guess, the blue carbon ecosystem is nuanced, right? We have seen the easiest headline is always it has the highest price and it's the most lucrative, but the reality is blue carbon is hard. It is high risk, it is also high cost, hence the high return, right? So the designing your blue carbon project early on is important to alleviate and deleverage all of the potential upcoming risk. But also the thinking about risk when thinking about blue carbon is not just the climate risk. The blue carbon ecosystem is deeply associated with the biodiversity, both in the terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem, and also the vulnerable coastal communities. So designing a three-pronged program that provides that kind of economically viable, socially inclusive, and biodiversity protective program is important.
All right. Now, thank you so much, Aruna, to also share your thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the talk show moderated session. I would love to give a special thanks to Rich, Grace, and Aruna for sharing all of your experience, and to everyone in the call as well who has been participating. Hopefully, it was a very useful session for everyone. We hope to see you in the next session, and all the best, and have a great, hopefully, early weekend soon. See you guys. Thank you. Heading over to you, Risky, again.
Hi guys. Yeah, the moderated panel is over, but the whole event is not over yet. So please stay for a couple of minutes. We're almost closing soon. So as mentioned, we have a closing remark from Insight to Action, how IDX can support Blue Carbon Project. So we have our speaker here, Mr. Edwin Hartanto. He is the head of carbon trading development in Indonesia Stock Exchange. He's been in the Indonesia Stock Exchange for the past 10 years. So without further ado, Edwin, the floor is yours to share your thoughts. You have, I think, around 8 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, Pariski, and thanks so much for Varatmos for inviting me to this event. And we just had a very insightful session about the mangrove project. And here I would like to highlight what is the role of Indonesian Stock Exchange or IDX in trying to develop or growing the carbon market itself. So as we know that the carbon market has been there for a few decades, but we still need a lot of the question around the integrity, the question around additionality is keeping to be raised over and over again. And now our role is we try to put in forth the trust and transparency via the carbon exchange. So a little bit about the background. So I only have about 5 minutes over here, so I'm gonna try to be concise. So first thing first, in Indonesia, the carbon credit, carbon unit, or ETS, even the carbon allowance, everything is categorized as securities. So by securities, this is fallen under financial instrument category in Indonesia. This is not a rare thing because Brazil also categorizes it as securities, and UK and EU also categorize carbon unit as a financial instrument. By bringing it into the financial transaction, we don't want to actually make it more complicated, but we want to be more transparency because a lot of regulation and a lot of strict regulation actually in place for financial transactions. So we know that by bringing the carbon unit transaction into the financial securities, we don't want it to be complicated, but we want it to be more transparent. A lot of stakeholders, a lot of regulators gonna take a look into this transaction, and of course, there will be more transparency in the market. As introduction, as Indonesia Stock Exchange, we are now a multi-asset exchange. So we have equity, we have stock, we have non-equity as derivative, structured warrant, ETF, and we also have a fixed income or bond. And the latest one is, of course, the carbon unit. So we try also to introduce carbon credit and carbon transaction into the mainstream financial stakeholders. So now more and more people will engage with the carbon market. And now we have several also ESG theme product outside of the carbon credit. We have GSS bond, green social and sustainability bond. We have ESG theme equity index. We have also ESG ETF, and also coming soon, we will also have a green equity. Now, a little bit about the IDX Carbon or Indonesia Carbon Exchange. So IDX Carbon as one of the business unit of IDX. So we can be proud that Indonesia is only one of 3 countries in Southeast Asia that already established our carbon exchange. Singapore and Malaysia are the other one. And IDS Carbon, we facilitate all kind of carbon product, be it carbon allowance or carbon credits, and all kind of carbon credit. Is it nature-based, tech-based, any kind of carbon credit? And is it SRN methodology? Is it Vera? Is it gold standard? We are pretty agnostic, so we can host any kind of carbon credit. And now we are running or operates under OJK supervision and surveillance. So, there's not only government, but there's also OJK will regulate and take a look and try to supervision this market. And we built our system on the top of private blockchain system because we want to try to improve the traceability of the credit and minimizing the risk of double counting and double claim. And we also have a forwarding mechanism I can share to you later. And then we have also one of the very lowest fee in the world, 0.11 to 0.22% of transaction value. And we also provide you with a free registration fee, free membership fee, no listing fee, and no retirement fee at all. So this is how it works with on our blockchain system. We mint, trade, and burn the carbon credit on our system. So then no double counting or no double claim once the credit's been retired. So the carbon credit can be retraded over and over again until it will become retired or until it burned. And we build it on the top of Ethereum-based private blockchain. And this is what I mentioned before, that we host and we can host any kind of carbon unit, be it carbon allowance or carbon credit, and any kind of carbon credit. Is it the local domestic methodology, or is it like the international registration or scheme? And this is the 4 available mechanisms. So we give a lot of flexibility to the buyer and seller. We have auction, we give regular trading, we have negotiated, and we have marketplace. I'm not gonna dissect all of this mechanism, but we try to leveraging how the buyer and seller want to settle at different price level. So now you can actually pick which market do you want to do the trade. You can do the trade via auction. You can do the trade via regular one with market price. We can do the negotiated if you want to settle transaction, then you already been agreed outside of the market, and you can also have your marketplace for your premium projects. This is our main regulation. So there's regulation how to trade. So this regulation is try to ensure or to make sure the settlement and all the transaction will be occur accordingly. And the trading fee, like I said, depending on the market mechanism, is very low, between 0.11 to 0.22% of transaction value. So as a buyer, what can you do after you buy? If once you purchase carbon credit on the IDX Carbon, you can now resell it on the regular and negotiated market only if you haven't retired. But Also, you can retire directly on our system. You can retire it under your own name, and you can retire it on behalf of others. You can retire it on behalf of your stakeholders. And this is the value proposition of IDX Carbon. This is how we try to put our role here in the market. We try to provide transparency, because now you can see all the transaction price that happen in the market. So now there's no hidden fee, no hidden price. You know immediately once the transaction been settled on the platform. And now we also provide the integrated platform for buyer and seller to buy and sell transaction. And now you do not even have to negotiate directly with your seller or your buyer, because everything can be accessed via exchange. And you don't need to have your agreement, your purchasing agreement, bilateral contract, or MOU, because everything is settled under financial regulation. And if you're foreign entities, you can also register on our site. You can register yourself as IDS Carbon user. You can also register your subsidiary in Indonesia. You can also buy and retire via intermediary who already registered. Like, for example, Faratmos over here also already providing such services to the stakeholders. And now here's some challenge of voluntary carbon market, right? We already know, we already understand that the voluntary carbon market sometimes lacks the consistent high integrity it needs to achieve its full potential. And voluntary carbon market to that have like widely accepted threshold. So concern over quality, of course, have ruined some of the confidence. The market is not yet fully transparent, so it's less efficient in channeling climate finance capital, and also lack of shared vision and alignment across the market of what is the next generation of standard tool and system. Everyone in the world try to improve this part, but now the role of exchange is to bring forward the transparency so that it can have more eyes and more scrutiny into the market, and hopefully it can create a more transparent and higher integrity market. So if you want to join any kind of corporate cooperation, or as long as you are a legal entity, you can join us as our user. No registration fee, no listing fee, and no other fee, no membership fee, and no annual fee at all. You can be a part of Indonesia Stock Exchange stakeholders. So last but not least is that the main message of how we can help, how IDS Carbon help push forward the carbon market in Indonesia is will carbon exchange, of course, will not eradicate every bad intention, but it will improve the transparency in the carbon transaction. So that's my closing remarks. Thank you very much. Over back to you, Pariski. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edwin, for a very comprehensive and brief explanations about IDX Carbon. Hopefully, people can take a look more. If you're a company's corporation, haven't heard about this yet, just contact Edwin. So with that, I think we've gotten to the closing sessions of this webinar. So first we have the Atmos Insight. So share your takeaways from today's session in a LinkedIn post, tag Fair Atmos, and use this hashtag. We will send also this recording will be uploaded later in the YouTube, so you can check and access in our YouTube channels for this whole event. So last but not least, we will have a raffle prize announcement. So the winner will get carbon offset, which will purchase in the carbon exchange. So yeah, please on a count of 3, 1, 2, 3, spin the wheel. Okay. Okay, congratulations, Michael Wijaya Saputra, as the winner of the raffle prize. We will give you purchase 1 ton of carbon offset certificate, and we will send the certificate to your email later on after maximum 3 to 4 days after this event. So congratulations, Michael, for winning. Are you here or already left? I think it's already left. So, but it's okay. We will inform this to the person. So yeah, I guess thank you very much for everyone for attending this event. Thank you for all of the speakers. I believe Mr. Amer and Mr. Fajar still here until the end of the session, and his team. We really appreciate your attendance for this event, and also other speakers, Rich, Grace, Edwin, Aruna, and Ria for the moderating the sessions. Last but not least, if you want to explore the carbon methodology finder that Aruna has already shared, you can try scan the QR code here. And yeah, we will upload this presentation. We will upload this recording in the YouTube as well. So last part. Go through. Yeah. So again, thank you everyone for attending this event until the last time. We have around 140 participants on the last time. So for all collaborators Kemenko Pangan Republik Indonesia, Kementerian Kelautan dan Perikanan, Carbon Growth Partner, IDX Carbon, and Yagasu, thank you for the collaboration, and also Ecobis Asia as a media partner to help spread out this event. Hopefully, we can meet again in the next event, whether it's online or offline. But yeah, happy to connect with all of you. Everyone who wants to connect more, you can reach out to our email and our contacts here. So yeah, let's make this happen. Let's make the blue carbon not only in a concept, but make it to reality to become investable and actionable. Of course, there is challenge, but let's do this together and focus on what matters and focus on what we can control. Maybe I think that's a closing remark of the session. Goodbye, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.